What's up, Broskies? Damocles here, and today I'm bringing you 10 tips for solo queue in Pokemon Unite. Yes, these are solo-oriented tips, but they are great general tips as well, so do not click off this video if you're playing in duos or 5 stacks. You're all good, but make sure if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell down below, and follow me on all socials. Hit me up on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, wherever, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. Also, hop in the Discord if you want anybody to play with and to get out of solo queue. But without further ado, let's just hop into it, okay? So tip number 1, and I'm going to say this in every single tip video until the end of time, and that is to blame yourself for everything as you're climbing the ranks in Pokemon Unite. Blame yourself for everything, not in a negative way, but in an analytical way. If something goes wrong in a game or you lose a game, just blame it on yourself. It's going to put you in a much better mindset than these people who go and they're stuck in Great League or Expert League and they're saying that the only reason why they can't climb is because of their teammates. Everybody knows matchmaking ranked in Pokemon Unite is a travesty, but in terms of you getting better as a player, blaming yourself for every little mistake from an analytical point of view is going to help you out majorly, and it's going to make it so you get better as a player faster. Okay, you're going to be able to look at a play and be like, you know what, I could have done this better, and it's going to help you out leaps and bounds. And to go along with that, assume that whenever you make a play, you're going to get no help. Just make that assumption when you are theorizing a play in your head. Just say, okay, how does this play look if nobody comes and helps me? Because there is a high likelihood that nobody's going to come and help you. And if you still think that is a value play, then go for it. But if you don't, and you think that it's just going to be a net negative, maybe don't go for that play. But just assume that your teammates are not going to help you out, because the only person you can actually control in Pokemon Unite is yourself. You cannot move your teammates around like a chessboard. Do not just assume that because you would have made that decision, your teammates are going to make that same decision, because you are going to be let down and tilted every single time. It even happens when I'm in voice comms with people. I'll call it a play A, B, C, D. This is what we're doing, and then people still won't do it. So just don't do that. You're going to get tilted, and that's not good for solo queue climbing. Tip number 2. Play carries and damage dealers, okay? Specifically attack-based ones, in my opinion. Because if you are playing, I know supports and defenders, everybody knows how integral they are to team compositions and everything like that, but if you're playing solo and you are going into a game and you want to win, you are severely hampering your ability to make plays and carry the game by playing a character like a support or a defender, because they just are too reliant on the rest of your teammates. And that's what you're trying not to do. If you're trying to climb in solo queue, yes, you should be able to get carried some games. You need to learn how to do that. But also, you need to be able to make plays for yourself and to control the flow of a match. And you can't do that when you're playing a character like an Eldegoss or a Blissey. I know there's a bunch of people who've climbed up the ranks in Blissey and Eldegoss and supports. That's great, but I'm sure there is 90% of them who say, oh my gosh, this was hell. I'm just crossing my fingers that there's a good Cinderace in my lane or something like that. By being a damage dealer and an attack-based one, you're going to be able to go and get objectives that you wouldn't have been able to get. Maybe if your team doesn't rotate to Dreadnought, you're able to get that Dreadnought KO and snowball your team. Whereas if you were playing an Eldegoss, you can't just go and solo Dreadnought like that. Or, maybe there's a fight at Zapdos. If you're just Snorlax and none of your teammates come to Zapdos, yeah, you can go and, try and get a Heavy Slam steal, maybe. But if you're playing a Cinderace or something, maybe you can take out 3 of the enemy teammates so they can't go and actually do the objective, or it gives your team enough time to come and do the objective. Either way, that's going to put you in the best position to actually carry a game. If you are ahead, you're going to be able to assert your dominance over the enemy team if you're playing a damage dealer. And specifically, the reason why I mentioned the attack-based ones is just from the objective taking capabilities. And that's why a large amount of the characters in my solo queue tier list are, at the top, attack-based, solid objective control, usually solid sustained damage. They're just good all around. It's because of those reasons. And following up on that, tip number 3 is playing the jungle whenever possible, because it gives you an experience advantage, and it allows you to exert your influence over the entirety of the map, not just one particular lane. So for those of you that don't know, jungle is the most experience per second of any of the lanes, any of the positions on the entire map. Central lane gets more experience than anybody else, and if you are playing in one of those other lanes, you are automatically putting yourself bare minimum below the level of the enemy team's jungler, if that makes sense, right? So no matter how good you're playing, well, I guess not no matter how good you're playing, but if you're playing bottom lane, the jungler is going to be at a, like, basically a 1 level advantage above you for the entirety of the game if everybody's playing equally, just because of jungle experience advantage. So put yourself in a position where you are going to have that experience advantage. You're going to be able to be in the best position to carry the game, and you are the only role that can actually go and impact all lanes. You can decide, do I want to gank the top lane? Do I want to gank the bottom lane? Do I want to go and try and counter jungle and use that jungle matchup effectively? These are things that only the jungler can do, only the central lane can do, so there's a lot of pressure on you. But if you're not good at that role, this is just going to help you get better at that role, because it is just such an influential part of the game right now. It's just the reality of the current meta, and that way you're going to be able to determine, hey, do I gank for that ultra rank Lucario in top lane, or do I gank for the, I don't know, the expert league Pikachu in the bottom lane? Like, which one's going to give me the best bang for my buck in terms of like time spent when you're playing a game? And so that's going to be incredibly influential in the course of a game, and you're going to be able to just decide which teammates you snowball faster. Tip number 4, focus Dreadnought. Get Dreadnought every single time. I still get comments in some of my videos saying, no, I go and I focus Rotom every single time because my team always throws at Dreadnought, and then that's what gets me to Masters. It's like, I'm sorry, but that is such an exception to the rule and not the rule itself that I can't even begin to describe it. Dreadnought is everything in this game. It is so important. I've made a bunch of videos on Dreadnought. You can go check them out. Dreadnought gives you the experience advantage. First, Dreadnought is going to allow your team to get Unite moves before the enemy team, and that's going to snowball the game in your favor, because experience and getting your team experience is going to make up for any associated skill gap between the two teams. That makes sense. So if your teammates are bad but they have a 2-level advantage, maybe they're not as bad comparatively, because they can just brute force victories, and that's what getting Dreadnought gives you. So get that first Dreadnought. It ties into some of the other things I'm going to talk about, but get that first Dreadnought, get all of the other Dreadnoughts you can possibly get. You can make up points. You cannot make up the XP that Dreadnought is providing you. You just can't. So if you're doing everything correctly and you're getting the 3 Dreadnoughts and your whole team's level 15 at the end of the game, and the enemy team's level 12 at Zapdos, you're going to win that game 9 times out of 10. So go and make sure you're focusing Dreadnought. It's monumentally important. It's just the most important objective in the entire map next to Zapdos. And going along with that, tip number 5 is play characters that can steal objectives and that have solid objective control. Like I said, this is why a large amount of those characters, the solo queue tier list, heavily skewed towards them. Pokemon Unite puts a big emphasis on objectives. They're just so powerful. Dreadnought specifically. The way that the game works is 3 minutes, you farm for 3 minutes, then you go get Dreadnought. You farm for a few more minutes, go get Dreadnought. Farm for a few more minutes, go get Dreadnought, and then farm for a few more minutes, go get Zapdos. That's how every single game works, and that's what makes Pokemon Unite a little boring in terms of MOBAs, but that is how the game works. And so if you're playing a character that does not have the ability to steal objectives, does not have good objective control, then you're severely hampering your ability to climb in solo queue. Because let's face it, some people don't rotate to Dreadnought. And you still want to have the capability to get Dreadnought on your own. So playing a character like Talonflame, for example, that can go and get that miracle 1v5 steal on Dreadnought, that's the great equalizer. It basically makes it so my team might as well have all been 5 at Dreadnought because we got the objective. You wipe the slate clean and you just continue to play. And if your team got Rotom as well, great. Now you're in a fantastic position. But having characters that can go and make those plays, who can go and steal the Zapdos when your whole team is feeding and not at Zapdos, you do not want to be in a position where you're playing a character that has 0 objective taking capabilities, that has 0 Zapdos stealing capabilities when your teammates are not doing anything in the game and you're playing a 3v5. You have to be able to go and put yourself in a position where, all right, if I do this perfectly, I will be able to take the Zapdos and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. So I would put a high emphasis on playing characters that can steal objectives. Tip number 6. This is just a general tip, and some of you might not like this for this video, but I have to put it in if I'm being totally honest, and that is don't play solo queue. Don't solo queue. Find just even one other person. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to be in voice comms with them. You don't have to like them. But just finding even one other person drastically improves your chances of success in Pokemon Unite, because Pokemon Unite is just unfair in terms of the ranking system. It's messed up in it's the most messed up ranking system of any MOBA I've ever played, because you can go up and you can be solo queuing and go up against 5 stacks while you're climbing ranked. And the only way to reduce your chances of having bad teammates is to make one of those teammates your own. Make it someone that you know or someone that you've met or something like that. And so even if you're antisocial, if you have anxiety, I understand, but you don't have to talk to these people. You don't have to hop in voice comms. Literally, we have tons of people just in my Discord alone that hey, I'm an expert here. I'm trying to climb up. Anybody want to just group? And they're not hopping into voice comms. They're literally just playing together, and just having that one other person that isn't a total random, even if they're not the greatest player in the game, just somebody that okay, I can go to this lane and this person's probably going to act on what I'm doing. Pays massive dividends when you're playing Pokemon Unite. So even though this isn't a really great solo queue tip, that I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, because Pokemon Unite is just unfair in this way, and I would highly recommend just finding anybody at all. Even if you don't talk to them, you don't have to do anything with them. Just one more person makes it so your teammates, who, just assuming 4 of your teammates are a liability, it cuts it down to 3. Right? Instead of you just being in central lane and having 2 potential lanes that can lose the game for you, you have 1 potential lane that can lose the game for you, because you have somebody in a lane that maybe can do something. So I have to bring that up. Sorry if that's not really a solo queue tip, but it's just I gotta be honest. Okay, tip number 7, understand power spikes. Okay, especially if you're playing in the jungle, or even if you're playing in lanes, you need to understand when to be aggressive and when to play safe. If the enemy team has a Routes or a Gardevoir on their team, destroy them until the 5-minute mark. I mean, literally just go aggressive as humanly possible. Whereas if you are playing, if you're playing a weaker character and you're going up against Lucario in lane, don't go and take that early lane team fight. Don't go and just fight them one-on-one. Go and play safe. Be smart about it. You have to understand power spikes in this game. So if I'm playing an Absol, and even though Talonflame is phenomenal in the game right now, if I'm playing Absol and I know, okay, I clear my jungle, I get Pursuit, and I can beat anybody in the jungle right now, maybe I go and I just run straight into Talonflame's jungle and I just fight him right there. Because I know he's not going to be able to take me one-on-one, and this is going to massively impact the overall game. It's going to put him behind, it's going to tilt him, it's going to make his team be like, yo, what the heck, our jungler's supposed to be ahead, what's going on? All of these different things. You need to understand power spikes. You need to understand when the enemy team gets their Unite move, because that's going to massively impact your ability to make plays in the game. Tip number 8, farm, and deny the enemy farm. There's so many people that they go and they play the first minute and a half of the game, and they're like, all right, we got to get these Audinos, go and fight over the contested camp in the middle. They go through that whole script, and then after that happens, they just never touch it again. They never go and they never think with that mindset ever again. And you have to. You need to be constantly farming in this game. Experience is the only metric of progression in Pokemon Unite. The only one. There is no gold. There's nothing else. There's no in-game items. There is only experience. And so if you are not farming and you're not keeping all of your wild Pokemon camps that you control, if you're not keeping them on cooldown and waiting for them to respawn, then you are missing out on experience. You are wasting experience in this game. And this goes doubly for junglers. If you're playing the jungle and you go and you clear your camps and then you never come back to it, you're losing your team massive amounts of experience, because those buff camps are huge. Okay, and now there's exceptions, of course. If you're going and you are making a really strong push and you're farming the enemy team, and you're going and taking wild Pokemon camps from lane, you're taking wild Pokemon camps from the enemy team's jungle, that's one thing. But, or if you're giving your teammates your buff camps, that's one thing. But there's so many people that go and they never touch the Audinos at the top of the map when their team loses their top lane, or when their team loses their bottom lane. Go and farm constantly. You need to, because that's the only thing. If your team is doing nothing, you never get a Dreadnought. There's so many games, I can't even tell you where I go and I will be efficient with my farming. This doesn't mean go and AFK farm. This means be efficient with your farming, and I'll still be at the same level as the enemy team, despite them getting 3 Dreadnoughts or whatever. And it's because they go and they're not touching any of their farm, and my team isn't touching any of their farm. I'm just going, I'm clearing the map and putting everything on respawn. Denying farm is just as important. Going in and stealing the enemy buff, it might not seem like a lot, but that only pops up 10 times a game. go and take that. That's like literally a quarter level to a half a level of experience that you're removing from the map for the enemy team that they can't get back. So make sure you do that. And then tip number 9, don't throw / be safe. If you are super far ahead, if you are, 20 kills on Absol, I'm guilty of doing this as well. Sometimes I just get, I want to have fun, so I go and I try and make 1v5 plays or whatever like that. But if you're 20 kills on Absol and there's 30 seconds left to Zapdos, and you get KO'd, you're going to be down for 50 seconds, and you basically remove your ability to win the game, to allow yourself to win the game because you just threw. Don't throw and play safe. If you are ahead, you got to remember the death timers in Pokemon Unite are ridiculous, and so is the comeback experience. So if you're level 15 and their enemy, Charmander or whatever it is level 11, and they get a KO on you, that's literally going to give them like 2 levels of experience, like immediately, and help them get back into the game. So when you have those advantages, assert your advantages, get objectives, win team fights, but be intelligent about it. Don't go crazy, because you can easily get them back in the game through really no fault of your own. So be smart about that, and don't throw games. Don't go and push up to their inner tower when you don't have to. Don't go and just pick a fight at Zapdos or go and do Zapdos when you don't have to. If you're in the lead or you see someone murking around their jungle with 50 points and there's double points up, keep an eye out. Make sure you're ready to rotate so that you don't throw the game and lose it for your team. And then tip number 10, have fun and don't get tilted. Don't play when tilted either. This game is not that serious, okay? And the reality is, in comparison to other MOBAs, Pokemon Unite is baby's first MOBA. It's super casual, and obviously people are still going to play it competitively. That's what you're here for, and I still play it competitively, but the reality is it's not that serious. There's so many issues and things that can go wrong in a particular game, so many people that don't know how to play. It's really easy to get tilted. Don't get tilted. Don't go and get really upset over, some bad matches. I know it's hard, but some of these tips are kind of catered towards trying to get you out of that mindset of getting upset over these games. And you got to remember, the point is to have fun. Your win rate isn't everything, and once you get to Masters, it's not like it gets like an insane amount better. Like you're gonna have the same exact people, same exact stuff happening in Masters. So have fun with it, enjoy yourself. If any of these tips remove your enjoyment, then don't use them. They're just tips to try and help you out. And don't play when you're tilted. If you are upset, you just had a bad loss and you're like, oh my gosh, this stinks. And then you go and you lose another game and then you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to cut this game off. I want to uninstall it. Stop playing ranked. Stop playing ranked. Go have some standard games. Go take a break. I cannot tell you how much getting tilted is going to impact your play, because you just constantly think, I need to get this game back. In the next game you play so much more aggressive because you're like, no, this game I have to win it. And that's just going to make you lose even harder. And then you're going to tilt even farther. And you're just going to keep going down and down and down and down. That's what people mean when they're saying like they're tilting. Is like you play bad one game and then the next game you play even worse, and then you play worse and you play worse because your attitude just gets worse and worse. Don't do that. But man, I really wanted to make this a quick video, but it didn't end up being that. I tried to talk fast, but oh well. I hope you guys enjoy these tips. I know some of them are quite general, some of them are more mindset focused, but overall, if you follow these, they will help you out. You will see some improvements, if you want to see more tips, I can make another video. I could talk about this literally for hours, guys, but I'm trying to be nice for the YouTube audience. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And drop a pineapple in the comments if you made it this far and you didn't just, I don't know. Just drop a pineapple in the comments. I appreciate it. But thank you so much. Let me know what you want to see next. And hit me up on Discord or Twitter. My Twitter game is not strong. Don't have a lot of followers on there, but the people that are there and ask me questions, I try to respond to everybody. So once again, thank you guys for everything. Damocles out.